Yeah.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah, that's all they're supposed to do.
Ready, everyone?
It's to communicate.
Talk to you at the bar. Something's on the screen. You
And
turn
can we?
around.
You're never gonna find out. No one's
Staring, you just stare.
Literally we've done it for like 5 minutes. it's like, I think you would find it terrifying. We just literally look at each other and like
When I
time
found a sociopath.
and like time stops.
Yeah.
But like that's just how it's been for us from the beginning.
No.
And like,
Like for sure, and like
Apple, take one. Amber.
very simple
Mark.
stuff, but then not the oral hours that she was badass than that. But there's no description.
Set and playback.
I'm gonna let you direct this. Okay.
Hey friends, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. When Blake Lively stepped onto the red carpet for the premiere of her straight-to-Prime Video film, Weird in Texas, in Austin, Texas, one thing stood out. Ryan Reynolds was nowhere to be found. And let's talk about that latex dress because that was a whole moment on its own. She was saying all the right things, keeping up appearances, but it was clear she was putting on a brave face without her husband there to shield her from the big bad wolf. She arrived with her co-stars, and there were whispers about Anna Kendrick. Specifically, rumors of a feud between her and the film's director. To shift the focus, Paul, the director, went all in on hyping up Blake. He called her the best. Collaborator, praised her wardrobe, said she was a joy to work with, and even claimed she was the most amazing actress he'd ever worked with. It all felt a little over the top, and honestly, I wasn't really buying it. People are so caught up in whether she's feuding with Anna, or if this movie will bomb, I just don't care. None of that matters to me. What actually got to me was how all the drama about Anna in the film distracted me from one big thing. Ryan Reynolds wasn't there. He's always by her side at every red carpet event. It's rare to see her anywhere without him. Ryan is basically her protector, her shadow, the one who keeps her safe in Hollywood. So when I saw her walking that red carpet alone, my first thought was, where's Ryan? Isn't he supposed to be her husband? Don't they do everything together? This felt like the perfect opportunity for them to stand united, just like they did at that SNL event. Ryan made light of the whole situation back then, cracking jokes, turning the lawsuit into a comedy bit. And that moment stuck with me because it made me wonder, is he planning to leave her hanging? Now this is just my take, but I've covered plenty of narcissists on this channel, especially one named Cody Brown. When a narcissist feels cornered, they'll do anything to shift the blame. They'll throw anyone under the bus, even their own wives, just to save themselves. And when I saw Ryan joking about it, I couldn't help but feel like I was watching Cody Brown in action. The way he distanced himself, made light of the situation, and acted like it wasn't his problem. It reminded me of a narcissist trying to separate himself, pretending this wasn't his mess to deal with. It's like he's completely uninvolved. Now, as for Blake's career, I have no idea where this is headed. Honestly, I don't even care about this movie. It's a straight-to-streaming sequel with mixed reviews. But Ryan, he's working overtime to protect his own career because, let's be real, he has way more to lose. His net worth is at least 10 times bigger than hers. If Blake is worth around $30 million, Ryan is estimated to be somewhere between $350 and $400 million. Now that's just on paper. It doesn't mean it's all liquid. But the point is, he holds the financial power. If Blake wants to keep living that ultra-luxurious lifestyle, she still needs his income. She has money, sure, but Ryan is the one steering the ship. In reality, for the last 4 years, when she wasn't working in films, she was basically living as a kept woman, supported by Ryan. So when I finally saw an article addressing why Ryan wasn't there, my first thought was, of course, it's the Daily Mail. We all know that both PR teams work overtime when it comes to Blake Lively. And let's not pretend their publicists don't love leaking to outlets like the Daily Mail and the New York Post. The funny thing is, whenever I bring up a story from those sites, people are quick to say, oh, the Daily Mail isn't reliable. And sure, fair point, but we've seen actual text messages proving that these celebs and their teams are feeding info to these reporters. So, when I read the article, I couldn't help but wonder, was this story leaked on purpose? Did Ryan's team put it out there only for the publicist to jump in and clean it up with a quote from him? Or is there some truth to it, and now they're scrambling to shut it down? Either way, it really looks like Ryan is letting his wife's career fall apart while he quietly distances himself. The truth is finally spilling out about why Ryan Reynolds ditched Blake Lively on the red carpet, and how it all ties into the supposed drama with Anna Kendrick. Now, let's be real, there's no actual feud between Blake and Anna. It's just that these two would never be friends in real life. They don't run in the same circles, and I doubt they ever would. My guess? Anna is probably just frustrated with all the attention this movie is getting, especially since Blake's involvement could end up overshadowing the film itself. But let's talk about what was really missing from that event, because this article just laid it out. According to the piece, Ryan and Blake were seen together just weeks ago at the SNL 50th anniversary show, and that's where things got interesting. During an audience participation segment, Tina Fey asked Ryan how he was doing, and his response? Pure sarcasm. He shot back with, "Why? What have you heard?" A not-so-subtle joke about the Boney drama. Now, the insider claims that little joke didn't go over well behind closed doors. Supposedly, it caused major backlash in their private circles, and that, they say, is the real reason Ryan was nowhere to be seen on Friday. Apparently, Ryan just can't help himself. He can't keep his mouth shut, can't resist making himself the center of attention, and definitely can't stop mocking his wife. And now, because of all that, he had to skip this event. Here's what their source had to say. The SNL appearance was a test to see how fans would react to them together. It was their first public outing since Blake filed, and let's just say it didn't go well. Now, both Ryan and Blake realize that if they want their careers to survive, they have to keep their professional lives separate. Otherwise, every little thing they do will be scrutinized. At the end of the day, it's all about protecting their individual incomes. The source went on to say that Blake is feeling uncertain about her career right now, especially after all the backlash. She doesn't want to end up in a situation where her family has no stable income. And she knows that, so far, Ryan has managed to come out of this relatively
backlash
unscathed. That's what
in
the source
their
claims, at least.
private quarters,
Then, of course,
and
a
that was
spokesperson
the
for
reason
Ryan,
for his
who
absence on
conveniently
Friday.
remained
So
unnamed,
apparently,
gave a
because
totally
Ryan
different
can't keep his
take.
big mouth shut,
According to them,
and he
the
can't
A-Simple
not
Favor
be
premiere
the center of
was a
attention,
massive
and he can't
success.
not
Fans and
stop
critics loved the
mocking
film.
his wife,
Blake
he
attended with her
needs
cast and
to
the filmmakers,
miss this
and she had
event.
an
This is
amazing
what their
time.
source told them.
Oh, and
SNL
plenty
was
of
a
other actors
test
showed up
to
without
see how
their
fans would
spouses,
react to them.
too.
It was
Classic
their first
deflection.
outing
Like,
together
don't look
since
at
Blake
Ryan, look over
filed,
there
and
instead.
it did not
But
bode
no
well
one's
for
asking
them.
about those other
Ryan and
actors.
Blake
People
both
want to know
now
why he wasn't
realize
there.
that if their
And instead of
careers
giving
are
an
to
actual
survive,
answer,
they cannot
all
be
we got was
involved
a
in the same
non-response
projects
dressed up as a
because
PR
everything will be
statement. He
heavily
didn't exactly deny
scrutinized.
that any of this was
Really, it's
true.
about protecting their
Something
separate
stuck with me when I
incomes,
read it.
the source
This was their
explained.
first
Blake
public
is
appearance
unsure
together
about the
since Blake
future of her
filed,
career
and it did not
because
go
of the
well.
backlash
Now,
she has
both
received.
Ryan and Blake
She
seem
does
to
not want to
understand
have
that if they
family
want to
with no
protect their
income,
careers,
and she
they can't
knows
work
that
on the
Ryan's
same projects
career has
anymore.
so far
Because if they
survived the
do,
fallout.
every
Okay,
little thing will
that's
be
what their
analyzed under a
source
microscope.
says. And
But
then
here's the
a
thing.
spokesperson for
Done
Reynolds, an
nothing
unnamed
wrong,
one,
if you haven't
says,
been involved in
another
anything
Simple Favor
shady, if you
premiere
haven't
was a
acted in a way
resounding
that could
success.
destroy your
Both fans and
career,
critics in
then why
attendance
would it matter?
loved the
The
movie.
truth is
Blake
supposedly
attended
on
with her
your
cast
side.
and
Like
filmmakers
Blake's
and had a
team
great
keeps saying
time.
over and
Several
over,
other actors
just
attended the
wait, the
premiere
truth will come
without their
out.
spouses
Then
or
why the
significant
need for all
others,
this separation?
deflecting to the
If the
other
truth
members,
really is
right?
coming, and if
So
they
don't
truly
look at
have
me, look
nothing
over
to
there. Nobody
hide,
cares about
there should be
who
no
else
reason for
attended
them
with.
to avoid working together, right? That's just my take. And honestly, it feels like a lose-lose situation for them either way. Here's why. If they continue working together, it's going to raise all kinds of red flags. People will assume they're difficult on set, that they cause delays, inflate budgets, or undermine directors. There could be rumors that they create chaos, enforce unnecessary rules, or manipulate people to take their side. Some might even believe they'd go as far as trying to take control of a project entirely. But if they stay apart, well, that paints an even worse picture. It makes it look like Ryan is stepping back and letting Blake take the fall for his actions. Neither version of this story looks good. Trust me. The way they're spinning it, it's as if Blake is willingly letting her career crash and burn just so Ryan's can stay intact. He gets to keep thriving, making money, and building his success while she takes the hit. And if Ryan walks away and lets his wife take the fall, that's about as far from chivalrous as you can get, especially considering he played a major role in creating this mess in the first place. But what really stands out to me is the way they're framing it. It just screams narcissism. They're making it seem like this is Blake's decision, like she chose to let Ryan step back, to not support her publicly. The idea is that by keeping quiet, Ryan's career stays safe, and that's somehow a win for their family. Basically, they're pushing this narrative that Ryan is the provider, the one keeping the money flowing, the sugar daddy making sure their kids are financially secure. Because at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to. Money. The argument for why Ryan isn't there and why his career must thrive while hers can fail is pure misogyny. It's anti-feminist. It's based on the idea that, as the patriarch, Ryan has to be the provider, so it's perfectly fine to sacrifice. Blake's career, like the Hunger Games, they can offer it up as tribute because she's the woman and not the primary breadwinner. So Ryan distances himself, pushes her aside, skips her events, and lets his own career soar. If hers crashes and burns, who cares? She's just a woman. Apparently, she doesn't need a career. But Blake's so-called CIA agents and bots keep claiming that those of us analyzing, reporting, or even criticizing this situation are the real misogynists, just for pointing out what's really going on. Calling out lies isn't misogyny. We're not attacking Blake for being a woman. We're simply saying she and Ryan are lying. The real misogyny lies in the argument that Blake is willingly letting her career be sabotaged just so Ryan can thrive. And if that's actually the case, then Ryan is sabotaging his wife's career on purpose. At its core, this is about control. I believe a lot of this, especially the way Ryan handles things, stems from the fact that he doesn't want Blake to outshine him. He wants her at home, barefoot and pregnant, raising the kids, so when he walks through the door, she's right there waiting. He wants her at home, making dinner, doing the whole housewife thing. And if he can push her into a situation like this, where everything collapses and her career is over, at least he still has his. Then he gets to swoop in and play the savior. But if she were truly a feminist, she wouldn't need saving. She'd handle it herself. And if what happened to her was really as bad as she claims, this kind of backlash wouldn't even exist. If the so-called smear campaign was really just a fabrication, like she says, it wouldn't have made a dent in her career. And by the way, even with all that backlash, the movie she was in still made a ton of money. That's why they all should have just kept quiet, let the conversation play out naturally, and not fed the fire. They should have taken the high road, done the promo together, put the film first, and set their egos aside. But they couldn't do that. And honestly, throughout this entire process, it feels like he's been pushing her, provoking her, encouraging her to fight and react, knowing full well it would eventually blow up in her face and expose her as a liar. Deep down, I don't think he even wants her to work. That's just my opinion. But based on how they're framing this, it's clear. He refuses to publicly support his wife because his career matters more. That's one of the most selfish, narcissistic things a man could do. Think about it. If you're in a relationship and your husband or your wife was in this kind of position, and instead of standing by you, they just stepped back, waved goodbye, and left you to deal with it alone. What would that say about how much they truly value you? My husband? He's a protector. He's actually a feminist, kind of like Justin Balan. But he also has a very protective side. If it ever came down to it, he'd go to battle for me. He would never downplay a situation like this. If needed, he'd go toe-to-toe with someone. Not because he's that kind of guy, but because he'd rather take the heat himself than let it fall on me. He would do everything in his power to shield me from it. That's what a real partner does. And honestly, all Ryan had to do with this event was not act like a jerk and avoid making a joke. He could have easily skipped the comment about the sexual harassment lawsuit, ignored the questions, and just played along with his fake narrative. But part of me believes he simply couldn't help himself. He had to make a joke. He would have wanted to joke about it because, in my opinion, he wanted to put on a show. Act like he's not intimidated, not afraid, like he has the upper hand. Because if you can laugh about something, then it supposedly doesn't affect you. That's Ryan's whole approach. And honestly, he's just doing what he's always said he would. In past interviews, he's openly joked on late-night shows that if his child were in danger, whether in a burning building or facing a gunman, he would throw his wife in front of them to take the hit. Not to protect her, but to use her as a shield. He has literally said this. That's not what a real partnership looks like. He's treating her like a sacrificial lamb. And yet, somehow, Miss Lively seems brainwashed, completely deluded into thinking this is okay. Apparently, as long as the patriarch is paying the bills, nothing else matters. But to me, this screams that their marriage isn't built to last. If her career crumbles, she'll be stuck at home with him, and the dynamic will turn toxic fast. He'll be unbearable, and she will be too, because losing everything changes a person. Their confidence in each other will erode. They're both narcissists, both incapable of handling criticism, and both obsessed with validation. Without constant admiration, their marriage will collapse. They cannot function without the fuel that fame provides. And that's where we come in. Every single one of us is their narcissistic supply, feeding their need to stay relevant.